Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions for the dawn of a new era. Last couple of seasons, we've been broadcasting the Podium 1 fixed GT3 series, but now it has expanded. The Podium 1 Fixed Series Championship, 2 races on the cards for action this season, and a fantastic long season ahead of us. We're starting the night off with TCR and GT4, and then we'll be going for the GT3 race later on in the evening, all in one show. We're at Sebring International Raceway for the first round of the new season, and I am excited. Very excited indeed. Haven't seen any TCR racing on Pit Road Productions before. It's going to be a pleasure to bring it to you all tonight. Myself, Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box and producing behind the scenes. Zippy, we are here at Sebring. We've got the GT4 and TCR field in their qualifying session at the moment ahead of their 30-minute race. I'm just looking forward to dipping my toes in and having a swim.
Oh, absolutely, Reese. I am ecstatic at the fact we've got this such a fantastic series. And indeed, if you want to join in this series, ladies and gentlemen, let us know. We would happily get you involved in this as well. Taking a quick look at the field, Disney GT4 was the more popular choice, but ladies and gentlemen, you are missing out if you haven't driven a TCR. Ladies and gentlemen, pick up Swelio Almeida. What does he drive in real life? A Hyundai Elantra TCR. Ladies and gentlemen, what more could you need? Indeed, we're going to have some talented drivers saying to the wheel of that today. Andrew Garove makes a return. CJ Conklin and indeed Drew Martin. All of those guys are going to be in a TCR as well as Michael Pacheco. But you know what? Before we get into that, Reese, let's take a look here at the schedule.
Yes, so we're at Sebring for round 1, Detroit Belle Isle for round 2. That's going to be an interesting one. Misano, Imola, and Long Beach rounding out the first half of the season in the middle of February. A good selection of tracks to really test the mettle of these drivers. Daytona playing host to round 6. Road Atlanta heading over to Georgia for round 7. Down to Australia, Adelaide is playing host to the 8th round. Oh, I'm so excited for that. Miami and Indianapolis to round off the 10-round season here. And worth pointing out, both series are going to be sharing tracks. We're not racing at different venues for the different series. We are going to be racing at Sebring all night tonight. And it's going to be the case for every round going forward. Same track for GT4 and TCR, and then the GT3 series. Qualifying is on the cards here for TCR and GT4. Currently, Doug Sorrentino is leading the standings in GT4, and Andrew Garov is the fastest of the 4 TCRs that we have in the field for the first round. We do have a few more drivers registered for the TCR class. Unfortunately, they are not here today. Hopefully, we're going to see them in future rounds. But I'm looking forward to this one. It's a fair amount of drivers for the first round of the season, and hopefully there is more to come. We'll see a lap here on board with the number 8 of P.S. Fox driving his Porsche Cayman around a very brutal, bumpy, and high-speed track. This place is full of history, Zippy.
Oh, it's an absolutely fantastic track. I believe it's on an old airfield as you see him absolutely flirting with the track limits there as he goes down into the braking zone. Certainly an absolutely fantastic passing opportunity going through there. As you go through here, you can go side by side and even get very, very aggressive on the curbing just there if you really want to. Definitely will unsettle the car a little bit, but the exit speed will be absolutely crucial. It's a drag race, ladies and gentlemen, all the way down to the hairpin. Probably the biggest opportunity to make a pass on the entire circuit. Sunset maybe the other particular position you could try and make a move, but right now you can see there Pierce Fox, he's going to try and get the drop there from Andrew Garove ahead. This could be beneficial for his lap time. It could be quite the opposite, but right now he's going to try and find his way up from P3 and see if he can make his way to the front of the grid.
And we're getting a bit of a demonstration of the pace difference between GT4 and TCR there. Through the corners, they are very well matched in pace, but the GT4s have a bit more power, and so they'll be able to power past the TCRs on the straights. The question is when you actually catch up to them and whether or not you'll be able to make the pass. The twisty section from Cunningham Corner all the way to Tower Turn, that's going to be a place where the GT4s are going to have to be careful making their way around the TCRs. Down here as well. The run into Jean de Bien. It's a third gear corner. Got to be careful not to run too far over those curbs. You will get a off track or a slowdown if you do that. And, well, the run out onto the Ullman Straight. And this is an opportunity to rest, an opportunity to pass, an opportunity to pick up the slipstream as P.S. Fox shows us how he takes Sunset Bend, coming up to the cones and the lines across the track as your braking zone, and then bring it in underneath the bridge. Very harsh bump underneath those abutments, and out of the final corner he comes, running as close as he dares to the tire barrier and across the line. And that lap was a 2:10.7 for P.S. Fox. Not quite as quick as he's managed to run so far in qualifying, about 0.03 of a second off his fastest time. This is a single race session, and that will be the case for both series. It is open qualifying and a single race, which means the drivers are able to commit to setting a lap after the timer hits 0. If you're on a lap, you can finish it. But for the moment, we'll see who's going to make some improvements. Chris Scheusler, it appears, is the only car here that is actually still on a timed lap. So we'll see how well he goes here. Currently sitting 8th in the GT4 class. There's 10 GT4s present here. One of them has not set a lap time. Wade Kloblin in car 00. And it looks like he'll be starting at the back of the field. But for the moment, field spread looking to be about 5 seconds or so between most of our GT4s, and it's about the same for the TCRs as well. Across the line, Chris Scheusler will come. That's a 2:16.4, about 2 seconds off what he was able to set at maximum pace. So some drivers struggling to find improvements at the end of the qualifying session. Regardless, it's going to be quite the interesting race. Gaps in qualifying, pretty close between, you know, groups of 2 or 3 individual drivers. I think we're going to be seeing some great battling here today.
I'm certainly hoping for it, Reese. Indeed, certainly going multi-class is going to be it's where you really need to try and get that participation going. And certainly, you know what? You need to get in here, guys. This is going to be an absolute belter of a series. The TCR is one of the underrated cars in the iRacing service. It is a very unique skill set to drive as well. Top tip that I learned, put as much brake bias towards the front as you possibly can. Makes a huge difference, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, we're on board with Drew Martin, who's making his way down towards Sunset.
Interesting. I thought that TCRs would dictate more brake bias to the rear to get the rotation into the corners, but obviously different strokes for different folks. Yeah, the TCRs are certainly a bit of a different beast for us here at Pit Road Productions. I'm certainly well familiar with them. I started sim racing all the way back in 2008 with front-wheel drive touring cars, so they are quite close to my heart. They provide a bit of a different driving experience to what you're usually used to, but we'll be able to talk a bit more about that as the race goes on. We are just about to tick over into the race session, 30 minutes ahead of us, and I believe it is going to be a straight-up sprint with no pit stops. We'll have to wait and see, though, if anyone visits pit lane over the course of this one. So, the field then. Doug Sorrentino on pole in the GT4s. Maxwell Budd starts alongside him. P.S. Fox and Amrit Vestrala on row number 2, with Sean Phillips and Quinn Manders on row 3. Joshua Travis and Chris Scheusler 7th and 8th. Jack Minter will start 9th of everybody. Andrew Garov takes TCR pole and rounds out the top 10. Michael Pacheco and Drew Martin are behind him. And our league administrator CJ Conklin, the last of our GT4s, with Wade Kloblin starting all the way at the back of the field in his McLaren GT4. He's going to have to work his way past the GT4s, past the TCRs, sorry, before he catches up to the rest of the GT4 pack. We've got a full formation lap going around Sebring here today. And this gives us an opportunity to really dissect the track and how the conditions are going to influence the running today. It Looks like we are running in late afternoon conditions / early evening, 5 p.m. in sim time. And the track temperature is only 22 degrees Celsius, nice and cool. The issue is most of this track is concrete, so that changes the grip levels somewhat and changes the way that you need to tackle the corners. Concrete's a bit more slippery than asphalt is.
Well, certainly there's not too many of us who've had the real-life experience of getting to drive on concrete, certainly not in a performance setting, but if you want to do that, Sebring, obviously a fantastic place to do it, and indeed one of the top racetracks across America, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly I have a feeling we are going to get to see a beautiful sunset at sunset in this evening's race.
That we are field separation already beginning, and looks like the TCRs will be taking their own start behind the GT4s. That's a bit of a problem for Wade Kloeblen, unable to get a time on the board in qualifying for GT4, so he's going to be starting all the way back there with the TCRs. That's a massive disadvantage that he has compared to his GT4 brethren there.
I almost wonder if it would be worth him making the pass, getting onto the back of the GT4 field, and then just seeing if admin could potentially wave his black flags for him. That may be an idea, but certainly it's the first race of the season, ladies and gentlemen. We're expecting there to be a few hiccups, and indeed 2 race sessions this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be one hell of a show.
Oh yes, this is not the only race we're going to be broadcasting tonight. After this, the GT3 session will be going live for a 40-minute race. Plenty of opportunity to see some fantastic sports car action at Sebring International Raceway. And looking at those GT4s, it would appear that the Mercedes is the car of choice for drivers at the front. The balance of performance is very close in GT4, so it doesn't really matter what car you pick. Just go down to driver preference, really, and you will be competitive if you're able to if you're able to get your techniques down. It would appear, though, that Doug Sorrentino and Maxwell Budd have decided to go for the Mercedes AMG. Pierce Fox in the Porsche Cayman, Amrit Vestrala driving the Mustang, same for Sean Phillips, Quinn Manders driving a Porsche Cayman as well. We have Joshua Travis driving a BMW M4, the sole BMW in the field. Then we have Scheusler and Minter also in Porsches, and Wade Kloeblen in the McLaren. In the TCR field, Andrew Garov and Drew Martin are driving the Honda Civic Type R. Michael Pacheco driving the Audi A3. RS3 LMS TCR, and CJ Conklin also driving the Audi 2. Bit of a technical difference between those cars. The Audi has the semi-automatic DSG gearbox, which gives it great acceleration, but also means that it tops out a little earlier in terms of straight line speed than the other TCR machines. But here we go. Into the final corner. Sunset Bend, Doug Sorrentino versus Maxwell Budd at the start of the race here. Who's going to get the best run into turn 1 is the question. Sunset at Sunset Bend. This is going to be a fun time, and we're happy to have you all along for the ride here on Pit Road Productions. The Podium 1 Thick Series Championships in GT4 and TCR are go, and Doug Sorrentino has nailed the start. He will lead into turn 1. Pierce Fox already putting Maxwell Budd under pressure for P2. Cold tyres at the start of the race. They will be struggling for grip in these early stages. It shouldn't be too long before the tyres are warmed up and they can attack. But for the moment, it would appear that the battle is for second on back. In the TCRs, Andrew Garov has lost the lead to Michael Pacheco, and the Audi is running away with it in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, definitely got an assortment of things going on here. It looks like something maybe happened here with Wade Kloeblen. Yeah, definitely not what he was looking for. The race start did not go to plan for him, but right now the closest battle indeed going on in the TCR cars, because right now Andrew Garov very much under pressure here from Drew Martin.
Yes, coming down to the hairpin, you got to make sure on the cold tyres. Oh, looks like there's a car spun there. That's Jack Minter that's gone around at the hairpin in the GT4 class. He has fallen all the way down there. Looks like maybe a bit of a miscommunication, a solo error. Looks like a bit too deep into the hairpin, and the rear end went around off the racing line. So Mr. Minter will have a bit more work to do over the next 28 or so minutes. Meanwhile, the battles continue in our GT4s here, as it looks like Quinn Manders is the next to fall. He is also spun, and he's towed back to the pits. The number 13 is out. Mechanical black flag.
We're definitely going to have to take a look at that in just a moment here, as right now, Amrit Vestrala, he was a really feisty competitor in last season, ladies and gentlemen. And on this occasion, he decided to go with the student driver livery. Fair play to Amrit there, but right now, Pierce Fox really applying the pressure here to the back of Maxwell Bird. You got to wonder, though, is that the best strategy, or do they want to try and bump draft each other potentially to catch up to the back of the 3900 IR?
Oh no! Amrit! Oh no! And that is going to be another mechanical black flag. Look at what that's done to the rear end of Pierce Fox. He's going to have to go into pit lane right away if he can even turn. I don't think he realizes how bad the damage is. He's going to have to go a whole lap with that damage. And it would appear that Amrit Vestrala might be feeling a bit sheepish after that one. Very deep into Sunset Bend. Not much could be done. It looks like... Yeah. Oh, no. Trying to continue on with a damaged car. Amrit Vestrala has spun ahead, and Joshua Travis also involved. Careful on the re-entry. Oh my God, that almost ruined the race for the top 3 TCR cars. Pacheco, Martin, and Garov have made their way through all of that, amazingly. But yeah, looks like a bit of a chaotic start we're dealing with here. Everyone's struggling on the cold tires.
Yeah, I was going to say the cold tires definitely claiming a few victims there. Certainly, Amrit Vestrala, he's aggressive at times, but don't get me wrong, I have a feeling he's going to be feeling, as you said, a little bit sheepish about that one. Indeed, it's a good job we just had Christmas, ladies and gentlemen, because I have a feeling that Pierce Fox will not be sending the Christmas card to the number 88 driver. Indeed, it was definitely not a lucky occasion, but already there, we got multiple cars with the resident meatball flag there, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, the closest battle is indeed back here, is Andrew Garov chasing down Drew Martin.
Yeah, it looks like Michael Pacheco, despite not qualifying on pole position, has managed to get the race pace down, nailing the race start, and really steaming his way forward. Andrew Garov, meanwhile, struggling a little bit to get the exit out of Cunningham Corner, but looks like he'll be having some pressure from the GT4 of Joshua Travis. A bit of a split-up field that we're dealing with at the moment. This is where the GT4 straight-line speed advantage comes in. Travis, though, well aware that there's a few TCRs to make his way past, and he's probably better off waiting for the Ullman straight to make his move.
Yeah, definitely low risk, high reward is going to be the way to go here. As you see Andrew Garov taking a little bit more of a flirtatious line through the grass there. Thankfully, he has been able to stay with the lead pack. We do have a fantastic battle happening in the lead of the GTRs. As indeed Joshua Travis puts the hammer to the floor, ladies and gentlemen, and absolutely sends it down the back straight.
Well, that's one TCR dispatch there for Joshua Travis on his recovery, but you see that the TCRs actually come back at him through the corner there. That's if you run the official series of GT4 and TCR, you're probably well aware of how the pace difference works out around certain courses. Sebring has a big advantage in that there's a lot of straights, and so the GT4s will be able to get by the TCRs fairly easily, but it's not the case. Oh, there we go. Andrew Garov up the inside of Drew Martin at turn 3. Very nicely done, and it looks like there's going to be a response from Drew, and this is TCR racing. This is what I love to see. Fantastic moves being made up the insides of corners. It's traditionally, I've found, quite hard to actually make a pass stick because it's really easy to defend moves in TCRs. Of course, if you brake too late, then none of that ends up mattering, but it looks like both of them managed to nail the braking zone into the hairpin. And they'll have to continue this battle on for a few more moments.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic stuff, Reese. And indeed, as a child, my racing that I grew up with was indeed obviously Formula 1 and the British Touring Car Championship. And ladies and gentlemen, the TCR being the closest thing possible to that, as indeed, looks like Andrew Garov went a little bit wide there. It's going to be an opportunity here for Drew Martin. He stayed there in the draft. Michael Pacheco has checked out by about 2 seconds. If anything, he's got Joshua Travis keeping him company right now. But indeed, the closest battle on track is right now for P2 in the TCR between Andrew Garov and Drew Martin.
Yeah, now it's difficult to really compare these two because we haven't really seen the maximum pace come out from these TCRs yet. Who actually has the advantage? Remember that Garov was the one who qualified on pole in this class. He's run very wide though. Through Le Mans onto the Ullman Straight, and there's going to be a nice slipstream, some nice momentum being taken here by Drew Martin. Mildly defensive there from Andrew Garov. He's not really giving Drew many options to make that move, but evidently Martin is content to stay behind for the moment. And they both go incredibly wide through Sunset Bend. They were nowhere near the racing line at all.
Well, indeed, looks like Amrit Bastrala is going to try and make his way past them very, very shortly. Hopefully, it does not disrupt this battle. But right now, let's take a look here at the front of the pack. Because indeed, Doug Sorrentino has not been able to shake off the 008 car of Maxwell Budd. He's been keeping him honest, despite the fact there's about 1,600 iRacing, 1,500 iRacing between them. Sorrentino has not been able to pull away.
Maxwell also has the fastest lap so far. 2 minute 10.006 is the time he set on the previous lap. Sorrentino running about a tenth of a second slower than that on the previous lap. So it looks like both of these guys are making good on their pace in qualifying. Bud there with a slight twitch on the exit of the corner was unable to get the run to really stay in touch with Sorrentino through that section. But Sebring's one of those circuits where you can gain and lose at different points around the lap, and it all equals out in the end depending on who you're racing against.
Indeed it does. But Reese, let's take a quick look back at some of these replays and find out, to start with, what happened to Quinn Manders.
Yeah, so Quinn Manders on cold tires. I went back to take a look at this myself. It's just a slide that started there. It started out as a very minute slide, but on cold tires, it's very difficult to arrest that kind of momentum. And so there was not much he could do to avoid getting into the wall. Vestrala, meanwhile, that was very deep. He may have been able to make the apex, but unfortunately, Pierce Fox was there, and there was heavy damage to the Porsche as a result. I think Vestrala tried to let him go, but then realized that Pierce was very slow indeed, and he decided to keep going. Unfortunately, Pierce Fox presumably didn't realize that his car was as damaged as it was. He went at full speed into turn one, and the rear end just let go on him. No rear wing, and the 68 of Joshua Travis, an innocent victim in all of that, got going just in time for the front of the TCR field to come through. That was a very lucky escape for Pacheco, Garov, and Martin. They all managed to get going in the end, but yeah, I think some drivers will be looking for a bit better luck later on. Doug Sorrentino still leading the way at the front of this field.
One thing's for sure, Doug Sorrentino can always give us a little bit of a smile. In this case, it's going to be with the, appears to be like a Hello Kitty style livery, ladies and gentlemen. By all means, forgive me, I am not an expert in pop culture, but right now, he is indeed leading for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, the Podium 1 Pick Series, ladies and gentlemen, in the GT4 class.
Yeah, the two Mercedes running in formation at the front of the field for the moment. And they are one of the two closest battles on track. The other one is between Amrit Vestrala and Joshua Travis. Vestrala just made the move on Travis, in fact, for 5th place, and it looks to me like they're going to come up to Chris Scheusler very soon. This is how the move was made for Amrit. Up the inside at the hairpin, a very deep dive on the brakes, was able to make the apex very nicely in the Mustang. The Ford has some great acceleration and straight line speed, which means it's really good here at Sebring. For the moment, it looks like Chris Scheusler is going to let the both of them go here. He was a bit off pace compared to the other GT4 runners. He was in that position largely due to just driving safely and avoiding incidents, which is really good to see. Scheusler should still be able to hold on to P6 in GT4. I don't see the likes of Jack Minter or Pierce Fox catching him up anytime soon.
Well, certainly, I'm not going to count out Jack Minter just yet. He's got 20 minutes to do it, and ladies and gentlemen, he is indeed a lot more potent in the GT3 than his iRating would suggest. Don't get me wrong, you see 832 iRating, you're thinking, okay, this guy's not going to be that quick, but he was an absolute weapon in the bronze class of GT3 last season.
Certainly was. He finished a long way ahead of his other competitors a lot of times, so he certainly has great pace, and he is proof in the pudding that iRacing is not the be-all, end-all of someone's pace. Pace and results can often vary in official sessions. When it comes to hosted races and leagues, often drivers make their own career in that alone. I know that I'm certainly one of those drivers, especially recently. But here we go then. Doug Sorrentino versus Maxwell Budd. And once again, Maxwell has made sure that his pace is on point. He's once again faster than Sorrentino on the previous lap, but seems like every time he gets to within maybe half a second or so, he's not quite able to do that last little bit to make the move.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like Sorrentino's, he's got the outright pace, but I think if Maxwell Budd loses the draft, that could be pretty detrimental to him. But saying that, he is definitely keeping Sorrentino honest. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a 30-minute race. We're not expecting there to be a pit stop, but should there be one, well, Sorrentino would be pretty much a sitting duck at this point. Maxwell Budd has just been tucked under the rear wing of that Mercedes the entire race, and he's keeping him honest, ladies and gentlemen. Very little indifference between them in pace.
It's a very close fight. So, coming up to 17 minutes to go. We're almost done with half of this opening race of the season. And I'm seeing, especially through Sunset Bend... Oh, careful, Doug. Jesus Christ. He was pushing it hard there. I noticed coming up to the apex of Sunset Bend, Budd was actually trailing the brakes a little bit further than Sorrentino was and getting a tiny bit more rotation, which is good for avoiding that wall on the exit of the corner. But Sorrentino is well aware at this point that Budd is really the only car he's racing at the moment. In terms of lap traffic, we might be seeing them come up to Quinn Manders in the next few laps, but Manders is still a fair distance away, so I don't think we'll be seeing too much lapped car shenanigans influencing this lead battle. There's Quinn at the moment going through Fangio as both of our leaders are making their way up to the hairpin. Speaking of making their way around a straight, CJ Conklin still running in fourth in the TCR class. Pierce Fox just making his way past him for overall position, in fact. And it looks like Wade Kloblin also behind him too. The McLaren that started at the back of the grid was not here for practice or qualifying, has not been exactly lighting the timing screens up. Kloblin running 216s, 217s, 218s, which is about what we'd expect from the TCR class. He makes the moves up the inside, and Conklin will be struggling to keep that rear end in check through the high-speed corners. It can be very difficult to manage the rear of these TCRs. As I said, you have to run the brake bias a bit far to the back to get the rotation into the corners here. These are front-wheel drive cars, and so understeer is basically their only driving characteristic.
Yeah, certainly myself, I used to hate on front-wheel drive a little bit, but honestly, the more I've driven it, the more I've gotten into it. So don't get me wrong, I actually, I got to test drive a Mazda RX-8 the other day in real life, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't have much power, and I scared myself, ladies and gentlemen. It did actually scare me, don't get me wrong. Summer tires in -5 isn't the most grippy of sorts, which you've not seen cold tires till you've tried something like that, ladies and gentlemen. Come to Canada for that, but certainly it's a lot more stable, and indeed the right suspension setup, front wheel drive, can be a lot of fun. But I gotta say, CJ Conklin, one of the newer employees over at Podium, this man lives, breathes and sleeps sim racing, and it's fair to say he is having a good time.
Indeed, he's having a nice time out there at the moment, and we'll be looking forward to potentially having a chat with him later. One note that I have though, Zippy, you said it was an RX-8 you were driving?
Yeah, Bout's not a good
idea.
idea.
The RX-8 is rear-wheel drive.
I know, and I'm saying that the rear-wheel drive only had like a couple hundred horsepower. It was enough to scare me. Like, you didn't need as much as you thought you did.
Fair enough. I thought you were continuing on from your front wheel drive point. Is the point I was making? But regardless, we'll keep our eyes on the front of the field here, as Maxwell Budd and Doug Sorrentino are in those rear wheel drive Mercedes, sort of a front mid-engine layout for these cars. It's got quite the long hood as the Mercedes, and I think, you know, the Mercedes is my weapon of choice when it comes to GT3 and GT4. That long hood really helps with aiming the car into the corners, I find.
Yeah, it certainly does, and honestly, the soundtrack for one of these AMG Mercedes is absolutely beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep on the real life, you know, car thing at the minute. I can remember as a boy, ladies and gentlemen, as a young boy, definitely wasn't a man, but going to the Mercedes dealer with my old man, and they had a CL63 AMG, and the sound that came out of that thing,
yeah.
You know what? Sounds don't generally have an age warning, but that I feel should, because it was absolutely just fantastic. Like, it's often one of them underestimated elements about a car. We just kind of take it for granted. Like, I can remember a Ferrari F355 as I was going through Leicester. I'm there in my, like, 150-pound car. It had no power steering, no power windows, no power locks, no air conditioning. It didn't even have a radio when I got it. It was bare bones to a whole other level. And I encouraged the guy to rev it with my little 1-liter 35 horsepower and a motorbike exhaust strapped to the back of it. And he revved that F355, and you didn't just hear it, you felt it resonate inside, like, your chest, and it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I do love me a nice loud engine, and you know, going back to your point about the Mercedes engine that you heard, yeah, there's nothing like a deep rumbling V8 like you get from these particular generations of Mercedes. I've been to the Bathurst 12 Hour a few times, and feeling the Mercedes and the Bentley going past with their massive V8s. Yeah, I could feel my lungs vibrating. That was how big those engines were. As we get some racing here between the classes, Pierce Fox making his way past Drew Martin. Thankfully, the 711 Porsche Cayman has been repaired, and looks like the rear end is back to normal. Jack Minter about to make his way past Drew Martin as well, who's another one of our series administrators here at the Podium 1 Fixed Series Championships, but it appears Jack is willing to back off a bit through turn 1 and allow for a clearer passing opportunity later on in the lap. Yeah, it looks like Minter and Fox, at the very least, making an all-right recovery of things.
Well, definitely some good racing going indeed, and I have a feeling that Minter is indeed going to make a move. He's going to get a nice, beautiful slipstream, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic exit there. It's going to be a drag race down to the hairpin, ladies and gentlemen, and absolutely gets by that Civic, ladies and gentlemen. Completely textbook move there. Saying that, it should have been clean, but right now, look at the Civic on the exit, ladies and gentlemen. That thing is absolutely motoring. Again, don't underestimate front-wheel drivers. It looks like Pierce Fox has just made the better of Andrew Garove.
Yeah, TCR is a great category. I really love it, and particularly for the amount of power the cars have. If you recall from the old Super Touring British Touring car days, about 270 to 290, maybe max of 300 horsepower those cars produced. It was about the same in the Super 2000 era. Oh dear, looks like Bud's fallen back a tiny little bit from Doug Sorrentino, but no matter, he'll be able to gain that back. But TCR cars, they run 350 horsepower or thereabouts through the front wheels. And that's a huge amount of understeer if you get on the power at the wrong time. You have to be smooth out of the corners on the power. You know, people talk about the Aussie V8 supercars and the Lotus 49 as cars that really teach throttle control. I think TCR does the same thing.
Yeah, it certainly does. If you go and put the foot down too hard in a TCR, all it's going to do is pretty much roast the tires, understeer, and indeed, oh dear.
That's Garov. that's gone into the wall at Sunset Bend, and that car looks very bent indeed. The entire left side has been compressed, and that's going to be a tow into pit lane for the man who started on pole position in our TCR class. You know, this obviously happened down here at Cunningham Corner. Was it a... okay. Yeah, we are. It happened at Sunset Bend, so it looks like we'll be getting a nice tour around the lap until we get up to this replay. Not that we're missing too much. There's really no battles going on track at the moment in terms of live pictures, but we'll be sure to tell you if anything happens. Coming into Sunset Bend, Garov gets on the brakes, and yeah, just hit a bump wrong, and the rear end let go. Oh, goodness me, that's massive. That would be almost a write-off in the real world. Fortunately, we are in the sim world where you can tow back to pit lane and get your car repaired, but that's not nice for Andrew. It looks like, yeah, it's a very subtle bump. It is. Until he hits the tire barrier.
Yeah, I mean, until he hit the tire barrier, it was an absolutely phenomenal slide. I got to give him that. Textbook, as in.
Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well,
I was just going to say.
He did hit it. Yes.
No, I was going to say. Fortunately, he was close to pit lane, so the tow time was very low.
This is true. Indeed, this is true. And it looks like Michael Clark has just joined the cameras as well. Michael, your camera is not yet functioning, sir. There is no picture for me to see. If you're watching, please fix.
Well, 7 minutes remain in the race and change. And we'll be seeing Chris Scheusler and Pierce Fox find their way towards each other. Pace difference between these guys is about 5 seconds. Pierce Fox running 2-minute 10s, Scheusler running 2:16s, and he's not interested in having a battle. He'll let him go. Michael Pacheco making his way into the pits from the lead of TCR. Not entirely sure what the deal is here, but oh yeah, he's going to lose the lead to Drew Martin out of this. I wonder if he didn't fuel the car up enough.
It's a fixed setup. He can't not fuel the car enough.
No. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't see a black flag to his name, but I'm sure we'll find out. CJ Conklin's coming into the pits as well.
I have to wonder if maybe the stock setup didn't quite have enough fuel.
Yeah, maybe not. Worth pointing out that Pacheco and Martin are both driving the Audi RS3. Maybe there was a problem. Maybe there's an issue with the fixed setup for the Audi, which dictated that they would have to pit during this race. That's something that might have to be fixed for the next round if that ends up being a problem. The Honda Civics show no signs of having to pit here. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
Well, I got a feeling that Drew Martin is definitely not going to mind there, as right now he is applying all of the pressure to the back of Jack Minter in that 325. But definitely no sponsors on that car there as he goes to make a move up the inside. I don't think Minter's quite ready for it, ladies and gentlemen, but away he goes. That Honda VTEC, bro, is absolutely kicking in. But don't get me wrong, the Cayman fights back as they make their way down the straightaway.
Yeah, this is a fast TCR driver versus a GT4 driver that's a bit off the pace, and the lap times work out about the same when that is the case. Of course, you see the advantages and disadvantages of each car in play here. The initial acceleration off the corner really benefits the TCR, but the GT4 comes back in a straight line, and lap times will end up being about 8 or 9 seconds faster at maximum pace if you're in a GT4 versus a TCR. For the moment, we'll see these guys continue to fight for position. No, okay, all right, so it's not an Audi issue. Drew Martin's coming into the pits as well. The TCRs can't make the whole race on fuel.
Well, that's just made it a little bit more interesting, ladies and gentlemen, as are we going to see Michael Pacheco retake that lead as he makes his way around sunset. I have a feeling he's going to get it back, but really, can Drew Martin just do a little bit of a splash and dash and return to take the front of the TCR pack?
This is the question. Looks like Martin had a quicker pit stop than Pacheco, but Michael's already away into turn 1 as Drew Martin exits pit lane. Looks like... I think Andrew Garov might have actually benefited slightly from having to tow back to the pits due to his crash. He could get the car fueled back up while he was getting that damage repaired, and so I don't think we're going to see Garov make his way back into pit lane there, so he should be able to hold on to third if all things work out all right. Our top 2 in GT4, meanwhile, looks like from my timing, I'm seeing that this is the penultimate lap of the race for these cars. A 30-minute run and about 3 minutes remaining. A lap takes over 2 minutes in the GT4. So next lap will be the last lap, and it's Maxwell Budd's last chance, really, to make some moves on Sorrentino. Very nice indeed. Do love the little panels, graphics, signs, what have you, that the league has put together here for their respective classes. And I'm really happy to see how things have gone thus far in this event. It's been a lot of effort behind the scenes from CJ and company to get things going. And I gotta say, we've been really happy to get things running for this season. Of course, we have sponsors to thank as well, which we were really happy to have on board for this. Just let me bring up the old PDF document as Sorrentino is going to come around here to take the white flag. I don't know, Zippy, should we run the sponsors in between the races? Yeah, I think so. Yes. Oh, well, pouncing into the hairpin goes Doug Sorrentino. And looks like Maxwell Budd is actually making a bit of a charge here on the final lap. Might have been looking after his tire temperatures and is now running a little bit closer to Sorrentino than he was. 0.3 of a second faster on the previous lap, and there's only half a second between them, so all it's going to take is the right kind of exit from Le Mans, and Bud's going to be right with Sorrentino. The issue is, I think Bud's just struggling for corner exit in a couple of places. Watch here at Tower. Would appear that Maxwell Budd has actually nailed the exit there and is staying well in touch with Doug Sorrentino. Now it all comes down to this section. If you can keep mid-corner momentum up through Jean de Bienne, through this little S-bend, then, oh, a little bit of smoke ahead. That's interesting to see. Looks like someone might be getting going there. But look at the run. Oh, it is CJ. That's a shame. Looks like CJ's going to be just ahead of our leaders here, as Sorrentino evidently got a much better exit onto the Ullman Straight. I think CJ's going to let these guys by on the run to the line. The first race of the season down for GT4 and TCR in the Podium 1 Fixed Series Championships. And it's going to be Doug Sorrentino who wins in GT4. Maxwell Budd shadowing him the whole way. Fantastic drive from the both of them. Oh, yeah. No, there's been a change in TCR as well. Drew Martin and Michael Pacheco, it seems, have swapped positions on my timing. What's happened here? Whoa! Oh man, that was quite fun. Goodness me. Whew, all right. Well, that's going to be third place for Sean Phillips in the end after starting P5. Very solid race from him, and Amrit Vestrala will recover to finish where he started in P4. Still got the TCRs really to make their way around. It looks like it was a timing glitch on my end, the change for the lead. There was no change. Pacheco was well ahead of Drew Martin, and because he was ahead of Sorrentino and Bud, he has a lap all to himself to take the TCR win for the opening round. Yeah, indeed. GT3, one of the most widespread motor racing categories in the real and sim worlds. But for TCR, in the virtual world, Michael Pacheco is going to win here, despite actually seeing the checkered flag a whole lap later than everyone else in the TCR field. He is the last driver to cross the line, and what a run it was. So Sorrentino, Bud, and Phillips are your podium in GT4. Vestrala and Fox round out your top 5. Joshua Travis, Chris Scheusler, Jack Minter, Quinn Manders, and Wade Kloblin rounding out the field there. Pacheco winning from Drew Martin in TCR. Andrew Garov, despite starting on pole, had a few problems over the course of the race. He will still get a podium out of it. And CJ Conklin had a few dramas on his way to a P4 finish in our second class. Now, time for a very quick chat to our GT4 winner, Doug Sorrentino, who joins us now. Lights to flag victory for you, Doug, but the race obviously wasn't as simple as that. You had Maxwell Bud shadowing you the whole way.
Yeah, it was the good race. You know, he kept me honest. I messed up in turn 1 a few times. He got back into drafts, you know, but I was able to keep him just far enough away.
Yeah, how was the track? Because running quite late on in the day in Sim, and it looked like, especially at the start, everyone was struggling on the cold tires.
Yeah, definitely cold tires. You know, you have a double whammy effect, right? You have cold tires and also GT4s, you know, have very low aero downforce, so you're relying just on mechanical suspension. So you really got to make sure you take care of them for those first few laps.
Indeed. Well, win off the cards in round 1. Do you believe that there will be more coming? Of course, we do have a few drivers missing from the field here for round 1, but we should have a few more contenders for the next round of the championship.
Yeah, honestly, you know, keep a seat warm for me. I'll either be here in first or third. It's gonna happen. I'll try and some jokes and some puns along the way as well.
Excellent stuff, Doug. Thank you very much for joining us. Great drive. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
And we are also joined by Drew Martin. Zippy, I understand you've got him.
Well, Drew, definitely a little bit different to be driving the TCR. Tell us a little bit about how it's been adapting to a front-wheel drive car.
Oh man, completely different. As I'm sure you guys have seen, it's much harder braking, less trail braking. So it's, I mean, it's a completely different world, but it's a absolute blast. I'm still kind of got the adrenaline going. The closest opponent I had was 9 seconds away, so I had a good time.
Well, definitely, it's been a debut round, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, I'd love to see some more people give Drew a run for his money. But don't get me wrong, the Honda, for a second there, we thought you guys were going to be able to do it with no fuel stops, but it seems to be, yeah, definitely didn't go that way. But Drew, are we going to be seeing you in the GT3 round as well?
I'm not sure. I think maybe. I'm itching to get back behind the wheel again. I thought it was going to be too much, but yeah, I think we're going to have to send it in the GT3 as well.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, your second place TCR finisher on the day, the 003 car of Mr. Drew Martin.
Excellent stuff from Drew Martin. And now we're joined finally by our TCR winner, Michael Pacheco. Now, you decided to go for the Audi for this one. Gives you a slight acceleration advantage with a seamless shift between those gears. But it wasn't as simple a TCR race as we thought it would be, Michael. How was it from your perspective?
Yeah, definitely. The first two gears in that TCR is basically non-existent. So I was struggling a little bit with traction and keeping the tire temps down. And as you can see, I went off the track a couple times. So I was struggling to keep it on. I think I let the jitters get the best of me in some parts of that.
Well, jitters aside, you managed to maintain a consistent pace when your competitors ran into problems, which is, I suppose, the main draw of racing in a series like this. Consistency is key, and it looks like you were able to nail it at a track where it's very hard to maintain consistency.
Yeah, I agree. Luckily the TCRs are very forgiving on the suspension, so I wasn't too affected by the bumpiness of going into sunset, which was really nice. And luckily I just finished doing the Roar last weekend, so I have a lot of time in the TCR.
Excellent. A lot of experience at those hands. The TCR's quite difficult to drive on the limit, as most cars are. But Michael, congratulations from us here in the booth. Very good drive to victory, completing a whole extra lap by virtue of being ahead of our main leaders. Hopefully we'll be seeing you again next week in a similar position.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. I really hope we get more entries into TCR, because the up-close battling is where it's at, especially when everybody's in the draft. You can really get some good broadcasting on it.
Absolutely. I'll echo that sentiment. More TCRs, please. Really love that category. That's Michael Pacheco, who comes away with the win in TCR here in round one. Zippy, looks like we can thank our sponsors and then take a quick break to get ready for the GT3 race that's coming up very shortly.
Absolutely, Reese, and indeed it's going to be an absolute belter. Would you like to get us started off?
All right, our returning sponsor, Carbliss, offers a line of premium canned cocktails designed for drinkers who refuse to compromise on flavor or fitness goals. These ready-to-drink options featuring vodka, rum, and tequila bases for classic drinks like margaritas and mojitos are built on a simple promise: bold flavor with zero compromises. Every 12-ounce can is 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, and just 100 calories. Really wish that they sold Carbliss in Australia, because I'd certainly pick some up.
Yeah, I know. I would definitely be a fan of that as well. But let's go on to a new series sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Nixon Power Services, and they're headquartered in Brentwood, Tennessee, focusing exclusively on the power generation marketplace. They provide industrial, residential, and marine generators, complemented by an aftermarket team that delivers premium technical services and parts support. Ladies and gentlemen, as an electrician, that is some good stuff to have, especially if you need to keep your power on at all times, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly in Canada, these guys do well.
They certainly do. Going a little bit more international to Moza Racing, a fast-growing brand making high-performance sim racing hardware for PC and console, VR, and flight simulation. Known for affordable, powerful direct-drive wheelbases, modular wheels, and pedals, Moza offers a full automotive-engineered ecosystem from beginner bundles to high-end setups, including durable, realistic equipment like steering wheels, digital dashes, and flight simulation gear.
Well, absolutely fantastic stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, this man is a legend. It's Darwin Hanson, ladies and gentlemen. He is the man behind Speed Designs, located in Phoenix, Arizona, specializing in custom helmet painting, providing unique, modern, and high-speed designs to drivers around the globe, including those in Formula One, IMSA, Procar, and NASCAR, and dirt track racing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm willing to bet you've seen some of his work, and he is, without a doubt, an artist and also a crucial part of the Podium 1 team. So for Darwin, thank you very much, sir. And indeed, that leads us on to our very next sponsor. Reese, take it away.
Last but not least, Podium 1 Racing is a Nashville, Tennessee-based builder of turnkey racing and flight simulator systems. They offer premium, ready-to-use rigs that integrate high-end components such as Fanatec, Azatek, and Cubic motion systems to meet the needs of serious racers and professional training environments. Podium 1, of course, the main sponsor of this series, and also the company that our admin CJ Conklin works for. They are responsible mainly for what you're seeing here today. So a huge thanks to Podium 1 Racing, all of the other sponsors as well. Their efforts combined means that we are here today to bring you a fantastic racing series. We're going to go on a quick break here on Pit Road Productions to bring us through to the second race of the evening. The GT3 field is currently in practice and waiting to get things going. I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the comms box and producing. We'll see you again very, very soon, but don't go away. Well, we are returning here on Pit Road Productions for the second race of the evening, the Podium 1 Fixed Series Championship. Already run GT4 and TCR, and now it's time to go live for GT3. This is where the series began, and it is where it is continuing. A nice field of GT3 cars out there ready to strut their stuff around Sebring International Raceway. One night, 3 classes, 2 races, the second of which about to go for it with about 11 minutes left in qualifying. If you're just joining us, I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box. And Zippy, of course, it is the same track and some of the same drivers as well that have jumped their way across to the GT3 series here. Gotta wonder who's going to come out on top, because it's looking like quite a competitive field.
Absolutely, and indeed, certainly the GT3 series last time around was indeed very competitive. I'll go honestly, I'm seeing Josh Wilford's in here. It looks like he's brought a friend with him, Mike Rose as well. I have a feeling those two guys are going to be someone to keep an eye on as well. I'm hoping Doug Sorrentino makes his way back in as well. I do remember him starting from the back in that bright pink and white Barbie Porsche. Certainly that was always a good laugh. But as I'm having a look here, I've seen the majority of these drivers are new, Reece, so that's looking really good. I know one of them, Alex Zart, he's new, and he is here in the driver cams as well, so thank you for that, Alex. Michael Clark, again, second warning, buddy. We cannot see you on the driver cam. I know we've dropped every hint we possibly can. Right now, Andrew Guerrero, CJ Conklin, and Alex Zart will be your featured drivers today as they're on the camera.
They are indeed, and the drivers are currently making their way through to the qualifying session. Remember that this is a 40-minute race that is going to be going off here in the GT3s, and I don't think we really need to run the schedule graphic again, because the GT3 and GT4 TCR series both share the same tracks. We are running at Sebring here to start things off, keeping an eye on car number 1, Joshua Wilford. We saw him in an Aston Martin last season, but it looks like he's decided to go for the Ford Mustang for his GT3 competition title defense.
Well, indeed, it's good to see him making a return. And ladies and gentlemen, he is definitely going to keep a driver to keep an eye out on, and an absolutely beautiful livery again as well. Look at that. Nice bit of chrome on there. He always impresses. But ladies and gentlemen, let's have a quick little bit of a feature here for the drivers who decided to put on a beautiful camera for us. And this is one of the new ones. And not only that, he's coming in hot. Ladies and gentlemen, he's picked the Lambo. This is the one and only Mr. Alex Zart.
Yes, Alex Zart at the moment, 1 minute 59 in practice, which was good enough for a top 10. Look at that. He's got his, I think that might be triples. If that's an ultra wide, it's probably the most ultra wide I've ever seen, but curved monitors that he's showing us here. And obviously racing in the dark, maximum concentration, which is what you need to really get a GT3 lap time going around this incredible circuit. Sebring doesn't have any elevation change to speak of, but it is far from the easiest track on the sim.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fun track to drive, but very hard to master. I think that would probably be the best way of summarizing it. But right now, actually looking at the qualifying results, it is incredibly close. And Joshua Wilford has been toppled from that top spot, ladies and gentlemen. Pierce Fox is looking pretty fierce as well, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, let's go on to our next driver. As indeed, let's get a little bit of a catch-up here with Mr. CJ Conklin. Actually, he's not on the road.
CJ doing... There we go.
Good.
CJ doing double duty tonight. He has jumped into the Corvette for the GT3 competition. We saw him last in a Audi RS3 LMS TCR. So it's a bit of a change from a 350 horsepower front-wheel drive touring car to a nearly 600 horsepower rear-wheel drive GT3 machine with oodles of downforce is frankly crazy. It's a transition that I'm not prepared to make at short notice, but these guys love their series, they love their racing, and so they will jump straight into it. I'm very interested to see how CJ does here.
Oh, that was me too. Certainly, personally, the Corvette, I loved it when it came in as a GTE car, and for me, that was what I guess in some ways the heydays of iRacing, ladies and gentlemen. Before the LMP-H came along, you had the LMP2s, the GTEs, and the GT3s, and myself, I absolutely loved it. It's also before rain, don't get me wrong, Reese Rana will understand the last race we did together, I spent most of my time going backwards in the puddle, ladies and gentlemen. That's how well it went for me. Indeed, I need to get myself back onto the Almeida Academy and see if I can try and refine my skills there. But right now, this gentleman here, Bryce Crone, has made his way to the top of the standings in qualifying.
Yes, once again, a Mercedes on top, which tickles my brain very nicely. 158.6 is the benchmark time in qualifying. In practice, no one was able to get below a 157.7, so obviously the track has improved in between practice and qualifying, and a bit more rubber being laid down. It's going to be quite the interesting battle. We have just had Joshua Wilford go back to the top of the standings as well. He's brought the time down to a 158.3, which is insane pace here. And we will see how much those lap times improve as time goes on. But as you mentioned a little earlier, Zippy, the times are looking incredibly close.
Oh, it is really close. I'm literally looking from the first down to about 11th. They're all under about 3 tenths of a second in the gap. But ladies and gentlemen, here's a gentleman who you should be familiar with if you've been watching the Podium 1 series. It's Kerry Corcoran. This is a more seasoned gentleman and definitely a patriotic one at that. But for sure, he will put his elbows out and fight you, ladies and gentlemen. He is a fantastic driver when it comes to racecraft. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking to see if I can get a little bit more pace out of the 28, but in terms of outright race, race strategy, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, showing up in his trusty Porsche. We haven't seen him drive any other car in our broadcast races with Podium 1. So he's well familiar with that machinery by this point and still running that beautiful Stars and Stripes livery in red, white and blue. Currently sitting in 15th place in qualifying, looking to break further into the 2-minute or sort of mid 2-minute run of laps. We're seeing some big improvements happening from a lot of drivers towards the front. Pierce Fox, Maxwell Budd, and Matt Jones have all made improvements to get further into the top 10. Maxwell Budd, of course, finishing in second in the GT4 race just mere minutes ago, and he's currently sitting in P4, which is very nice to see.
Yeah, he's definitely punching above his weight class as well. 2,384 iRating, but he drives like a 3K. Ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye on this gentleman. Indeed, Alex Zart as well. He's doing really good in that Lamborghini. And I will say, probably my favorite sounding GT3 car, that mighty V10, ladies and gentlemen, as they have a new driver to the series, Kenneth Narvaez. You tell me, Reese. He is just going to put that AMG up onto 6th place.
Narvaez, I believe, is the way to pronounce that. So we'll see how much Kenneth improves here, but 3.5 minutes remaining in the session. He has to exit the pits right now and get out onto another lap. Otherwise, he won't have another opportunity to improve on that time. Still incredibly close, at least if you're talking behind Joshua Wilford. Wilford's improved his time and he is now down into the 157s. So we're going to be seeing a bit more from these guys here. Let's see if Bryce Crone will be able to improve to a 1 minute 57 as he was able to do in practice. Javi Sierra, my apologies, has just improved to P6. He's brought Kenneth Narvaez down to P7 as a result. Those are the only improvements in lap times that I've been able to see. But here is Bryce Crone, got a bit of slipstream ahead of him, trying his best to negotiate the bumps through Sunset Bend, and this will likely be his second last, at least, opportunity to improve on a time, and he does, back up to P2 on a 158.2. Still not quite close enough to Wilford, though.
No, he's absolutely flying, though. He is definitely a man on the mission right now. And that Porsche ahead, I've got a feeling it's going to be dispensed with very, very shortly. He's looking to try and capitalize there. Absolutely throwing that Mercedes over the curves. Actually, it's actually one of the traits I'd say the Mercedes probably not known the best for, actually, is riding the curves, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, he is trying to capitalize on that slipstream. Is he going to be able to make a move there and try and not only do that, but improve on his lap time? He's got to find a lot of pace there. Almost 4 tenths of a second. But further back, though, Maxwell Budd and Alex Zart pretty much joined, ladies and gentlemen, with a 158.88 for both of them.
Yeah, that's very close times there between Sandoval and Bud and Alex Zart, all in the 158.8s. So looks like the race for fourth is going to be a close one as driver spun on the exit of Le Mans. Not entirely sure who that was. Drew Martin, yes, who we saw in the TCR class earlier as well. Down in 22nd position at the moment, and not having the most fun of times, trying to get his lap times down. We'll keep an eye on this Lamborghini here and see if there's any improvements to be made. Another lap begins, and it will be the final lap that this driver will be able to set as Alex Zart finds his way to turns 1 and 2. Seeing green sectors all over the place for a lot of these drivers. Sean Phillips, Joshua Travis, Sean O'Brien, all making improvements, at least in the second half of the lap. Bryce Crone not entirely happy with how his lap has been going here, but maybe he's doing a bit of a cool down lap before he goes for his next time. Actually, I remember he was behind that Porsche that he's currently running behind on, running in front of on screen. So that lap was a little bit of a bust. 30 seconds remain. Anyone who starts a lap now will be able to complete it, and it looks like Joshua Wilford is gearing up for one more.
Yeah, he's absolutely exploiting the living snot out of that Mustang, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed it was a 157.88 he had to beat. Doesn't quite manage to do it, 157.9, but ladies and gentlemen, further back in the standings, we have drivers that are separated by mere hairs, ladies and gentlemen. Amrit Pastrana and Michael Pacheco, a 159.58 and a 159.59 each, with Kerry Corcoran getting them by 400ths of a second, ladies and gentlemen. Incredibly balanced field there in the mid-pack.
Yes, checkered flag flies. And we still have quite a few drivers out on track at the moment, but doesn't look like many of them are actually... okay. Yeah. Who's that?
Travis.
Joshua Travis.
He got lammed.
Yeah, interesting that he was stopped at that point on the circuit. I'm wondering if that was a hardware issue for Joshua Travis. He tried to move off the circuit and got absolutely cannonballed by another BMW. So a bit of drama at the end of qualifying there as we wait for improvements to be made. Kerry Corcoran making improvements up to 13th, a 159.5. We'll see if this lap will bring any improvement for him. He was green in Sector 1, but it doesn't look like there's going to be much of an improvement on this lap if he can't set some green sectors from here. Potentially just getting some extra track time in to make sure that he has everything in order.
Yeah, he's certainly got a pretty vibrant livery there. I'm absolutely loving it. And fair play to him. You know what? He's a patriotic man. I can't fault him for that. But indeed, Kerry Corcoran has got incredibly close competition around him. He's got Amrit Pastrana just 400ths of a second behind. Ben Mellick, he's not far ahead either. He's about 3/4 tenths of a second quicker. I've got a feeling this is going to be where racecraft is really going to come into play for qualifying times. These drivers are so evenly matched, ladies and gentlemen. 57.88 was the best time we saw from Joshua Wilford, but all the way down to about 17th place, ladies and gentlemen, all under 2 minutes.
Yeah, the field spread from second place down to 16th place is about 7/10ths of a second. That should tell you exactly what kind of competition we've got getting ready here today. So, just a few moments remain, and we'll be able to flip over to the race session and get our race on. But I got to say, great performance from Joshua Wilford, taking pole position by about 4/10ths of a second or near enough. I think that's just about the perfect way to start a season after you've won the title.
Yeah, it doesn't really get any better than that. Don't get me wrong. He's still got a 40-minute race to contend with, and indeed a lot can happen. Bryce Crone has very much been on it today. He's been applying some good pressure as well. Maxwell Budd, he's going to be somebody to keep an eye out for. He's definitely a little bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing there. And not only that, we've got to wonder as well, Mike Rose, is he a teammate of Josh Wilford? I've got to wonder, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, there is a Darwin as well. We had 2 Darwins last season. Old man memory, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe Reese can remember a little bit better. But in the meantime, though, let's get you a grid.
Yes, indeed. Race session is on, and Joshua Wilford has pole position ahead of Bryce Crone, with Mike Rose and Pierce Fox rounding out the second row of the grid. Manuel Sandoval and Maxwell Budd are 5th and 6th. Alex Zart and Javi Serra on row 4. Kenneth Narvaez will start from 9th place alongside Michael Belair rounding out the top 10.
Let's have a look at P11. It's going to be Matt Jones alongside Ben Malek before we head back to the 7th row with Kerry Corcoran and indeed Amrit Vestrala. Michael Pacheco takes 15th with Wilton Palermo in 16th. Michael Clark, that Lamborghini driver, is indeed back, ladies and gentlemen. He's there alongside Andrew Gorov with Dustin Moran in 19th. And Quinn Banders in 20th. My bad.
All good. In 21st place is the 21 of Sean O'Brien. Drew Martin starts 22nd alongside Joshua Travis and CJ Conklin in 23rd and 24th. And then we have Sean Phillips and Zeke Sauter, who round out our 26 car field for this first round of the GT3 series at Sebring. And it looks like we're going to be racing well into the sunset here. Lights are on throughout the field. And it looks like about 5:45 in the evening in sim time. Bit of a later start than the GT4s and TCRs. And that's going to result in a slightly lower track temperature, 21 Celsius. Which, I mean, the GT3s, they do have a little bit more of a tyre advantage. Tyre warmers are active on these cars. So it doesn't take as much effort to bring them up to temperature, but you still need to be careful in those opening laps.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly the GT3 tyre model, you do need to ease them in a little bit gently. Actually, where's Morgan Smith when you want him? He drives GT3s pretty much every day, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly he would be a good person to attest to that, certainly much more than myself, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, if you need a spec racer Ford or a Radical, that I can help you with. But certainly GT3's not my strong point for many, many years, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Joshua Wilford, he's going to be there in that Mustang against the Mercedes, which you've seen as be quite strong in the GT4 field here at Sebring, but is it going to be able to deliver that in the GT3 class as well?
Yeah, that is the question. It does look like the pace is incredibly close, so I think we are going to be seeing slightly closer racing in this, but of course the cars are much faster and mistakes will be punished a bit more severely. So I think a bit of a balance to strike there. Much less light hitting the racetrack, at least not from the headlights of these cars. And the pace car is really ragging it through those corners. It's nice to see that the old Mustang pace car is being given a run here. I do have some good memories in the Mustang FR500S, but we'll be seeing that car not make any more appearances here, with it going to be a single green flag run all the way to the end. 40 minutes, and I believe a pit stop will be required in this race as well.
Yeah, I do have a feeling, though, they did get into starting using the Race Director software. Certainly, we're a little bit familiar with that as well, but I don't know if that's just if Darwin is indeed present. Certainly, I can't see him here in the session, and I know that he has had a lot on his plate and he's not been feeling well either. So Darwin, if you're watching, by all means feel better, my friend. You've been working really, really hard, but right now I've got to say this is going to be an absolute belter of a race. The field is incredibly close competition, and we're going to have to wonder as well who's going to emerge out on top. Will Wilford be able to hold on to his crown from the last season, or will some of these new competitors indeed give him a run for his money? We're going to have to wait and find out, ladies and gentlemen, as 40 minutes of Sebring will be getting underway any moment now.
Yes, they will. Yeah, about half the lap done on this formation lap. Coming up to Tower Turn. This is where they ever so briefly rejoin one of the historic layouts of Sebring before diverting off it here, and also running in the opposite direction to what it used to run. I tell you what, I've got a video script that I've been meaning to finish for a while about the history of Sebring, and seeing the way this track has evolved over the years is just incredible. It's a completely different circuit to what it was when it first opened in the 1950s, but still somehow maintaining that same high-speed, bumpy character. An incredible track with so much history behind it, and maybe yet more to be made here in the virtual world. Can Wilford hold off the likes of Crone, Rose, and Fox to take the win here today and get his title defense off to the best start possible? Remains to be seen.
Yeah, definitely a lot on the line, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, we've got newcomers to keep an eye out for as well. But a quick reminder, thank you to everybody who's joined us here in the Pit Road Productions chat as well. Honestly, it would not be the same without you. J-Ken's definitely getting a special shout out for yourself. Without a doubt, Pit Road Productions' #1 fan. Indeed, check him out on YouTube as well, Canadian Cutting Edge. I'll plug him. Honestly, I didn't realize there was so much about knives. He gets into that, which... it's worth a watch, ladies and gentlemen. You might learn something indeed. But right now, as we get back to the racing, Joshua Wilford is about to take the green flag.
Yep, got the inside line into turn 1. Mustang versus Mercedes on the front row. Joshua Wilford and Bryce Crone leading us away here for the start of the Podium 1 Fixed Series GT3 race. Green flag flies, and we are away into turn 1. Wilford's going to lead. Already a move to the inside from Mike Rose. He's going to try and pass Piers Fox, but it's not going to work out for him. It looks like he's going to have to wait for turn 3 to get it done here. The top 2 breaking away from the rest of the field as the move is made by Mike Rose. And now Piers Fox has to deal with everyone behind him. They're running 2 by 2 by 2 in some places. Maxwell Budd and Kenneth Narvaez side by side here in the Porsche and the Mercedes through Big Bend. And it's a slightly better run for Maxwell Budd. Can Kenneth get back up the inside at the hairpin? Slightly defensive there from Maxwell Budd. Behind them, Harvey Sierra passing Matt Jones and moving his way back up to 9th. Some good gains being made from Joshua Travis further down in the field. He's moved up to 20th.
Attaboy from Joshua Travis there, as indeed he is applying all of the pressure. Don't get me wrong, 895 IR, and he is moving, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, battles indeed happening throughout the field. As we see, it looks like there's 2 drivers really starting to fight it out. Kerry Corcoran getting into the battles yet again. Ladies and gentlemen, I said he'd be one to keep an eye out for as he goes to make a move on the inside, backs out of it, using the Porsche's late braking abilities to try and get the work done.
Yeah, got Michael Belair in that yellow Mercedes ahead, and Belair has fallen a couple of places on the start. Had to give his position up to Matt Jones and Ben Millick. We'll wait and see what else he has in store. Very close here on the first lap as the sun dips below the horizon, and it looks like we may well be finishing this race in dusk conditions, if not flat out nighttime. This is going to be a fun drive for sure for everybody. Matt Jones having to keep an eye out there for Ben Mielek, and Matt running the Rafa Racing Club logo on his Honda NSX. Or Acura NSX, depending on how you define it. Mielek getting a better run out of the final corner, side by side across the line. The inside line for turn 1 is the way you want to go if you want to make a move, but sometimes the over-under on exit is the way to go, and there goes Mielek, showing us exactly how to do it. Is he close enough for a move? He certainly is going to try and have a go at it. Sending Matt Jones wide, but amazingly, they both get through the corner, and Jones stays ahead.
Yeah, honestly, I have a feeling that himself and Michael Belair there may indeed be teammates. Had they not been, as I say that, where on earth is Belair going? Ladies and gentlemen, he's just pulled off to the side.
Oh dear. Is he going to come to a complete stop? He is. And that looks like it might be a tow back to pit lane, potentially. Maybe he has some hardware issues. Could be a monitor potentially going, because he hasn't towed back to pit lane yet. Okay. Yeah, it looks like potentially something failed there for Michael Belair, because he was on max pace right up until the exit of turn 5, and then he just slowed down and pulled off the circuit. Potentially a screen freeze or some other hardware issue afflicting the Mercedes, which is now rolling again. Michael Belair has not retired, but he is a long way back from everybody else.
Yeah, he's definitely, you know, maybe he is that fast, ladies and gentlemen, that he's given the rest of the drivers a little bit of an advantage, but I would like to say that he's that talented, but believe me, if he pulls it off, I'll be impressed. But right now, the biggest battle we got on screen is indeed between the 35 and the 77. Ben Malik has been doing nothing but apply pressure here to the back of the only accurate in the field, ladies and gentlemen, the 77 of Matt Jones. Saying that, he tried to make a move on the last lap. Is he going to be able to do it again here as they make their way down towards Sunset?
Oh, in the slipstream, and briefly had the inside run into Sunset, but he's going to have to wait until the mid-corner for that. The Acura runs wide, and once again, this is a very similar situation to what we saw on the previous lap, with Mielik trying to find his way past Jones on the outside into turn 1. Has a slightly better run down the start-finish straight, and is later on the brakes, but the Acura's still there to the inside. Oh dear, contact, and they are both, well, at the least Matt Jones gets sent around. An incredible save from Ben Mielik. He manages to keep going, but Jones has damage.
Yeah, he's definitely got a wounded Acura there, ladies and gentlemen. The rear of that car is fair to say it's not just toasted, and indeed around it goes, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
No. He's found his friend, look, there's Ben Mielik.
Yeah, I think Mielik was pulling over to redress the position, but unfortunately it seems that Matt Jones is, there's something that's been severely damaged with that car from that contact. The rear bumper is missing, and I think the rear suspension might have had a number done on it, so unfortunately Matt Jones may have to go into the pits for repairs early. That's a real shame. But we'll move on quite quickly as we find more battles throughout the field. Joshua Travis has got Ben Mielik up ahead of him, and further up the field, Kerry Corcoran now rounds out the top 10, gaining 3 spots. Amrit Vestrala and Wilton Palermo chasing him down in what is quite the train.
Yeah, definitely got a few of these cars looking to try and make some moves and find their way up into the podium, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, they're going to have to pull their work out, as right now, Joshua Wilford about 1.8 seconds clear of Bryce Crone, who's in second, with Mike Rose in third. He's got a little bit of an entourage, so Mike Rose there with Piers Fox, and indeed Manuel Sandoval with Alex Zart as well in that Lamborghini, before you get about 1.4 second back to Maxwell Budd, who we saw just a few moments ago having a really good race in the TCRs. Don't get me wrong though, Hinton Narvaez is very much applying the pressure.
Yeah, Narvaez is really pushing it on the exit of Sunset there. Try and get the best run possible down the start-finish straight. Slipstream, incredibly important here at Sebring. If you can stay within a second or so of the car ahead, you will get a slight straight line speed advantage. But it looks like Narvaez is not going to be able to make the move here in the short term. These guys very close indeed to the trio battling for fourth of Piers Fox, Manuel Sandoval, and Alex Zart. Looks like our top 3 have not only broken away from everyone else, but they've broken away from each other too. Wilford, Crone, and Rose have no pressure from anyone at the moment.
Yeah, these guys are very much running a pretty relaxed race at this point, and don't get me wrong, 40 minutes, I am expecting to see a pit stop, ladies and gentlemen, as Piers Fox now leading this pack. He actually drove this car in the last season as well, but don't get me wrong, he's got a season of this BMW, but is it going to be enough here with Manuel Sandoval and indeed Alex Zart trying to apply even more pressure?
Yes, indeed. Pierce has had some great drives in this series. He had some awesome results last season, staying in the BMW for this season, getting chased down by a Porsche, and is that an Audi behind him as well? It's been a while. No, it's a Lamborghini. The Lamborghini of Alex Zart. Oh dear, looks like Wilton Palermo and Dustin Warren have both had a problem. Oh dear, that's a bad spot. The 05 of Andrew Garov having to take some mild avoiding action there. And, oh dear, Ben Mielik on the grass and on the curb there. Oh, his dramas just continue. What on earth happened to Palermo and Warren? Because they were quite a few positions ahead of where they are now. And those Porsches evidently having some kind of drama.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at just there in just a minute here as Ben Mielik is trying to make a move past Andrew Garov. And indeed, he's trying to make a pass going down the back straight as they make their way down towards Sunset. Absolutely sending it in that Mercedes, and it looks like Garov is going to lift off, at least for now, as he tries to make a fight back going around the final turn.
Nice cut back underneath from Ben Mielik, and he'll claim the position, as coming out of the pits there just ahead of them is Matt Jones. Last time we saw Jones, he was stricken by the side of the circuit after his contact with Ben Milik, and he's going to come out of the pits just behind him. Hopefully the damage has been repaired there. We still have our 25 starters running as of right now. CJ Conklin was in the... Okay, so there's a bit of a view into what happened to Dustin Warren and Wilton Palermo. Michael Clark on the scene there as well. Good to see Michael Clark returning from the previous season. He had his fair share of runs on the broadcast in that Lamborghini. He is now still behind that Porsche duo and working out okay for the time being. A very jumbled order in the midfield. We've had drivers making some massive gains here. Dustin Warren now trying his best to find his way past the number 35 of Ben Milik, but unsuccessful for the moment.
Yeah, that AMG's definitely got a little bit of a booty on it, and indeed, it looks like Dustin Warren has not paid admissions, ladies and gentlemen, as he's trying to find his way past that beautiful AMG Mercedes. Ben Malik a little bit out of place now. He's down 7 spots. Maybe have a look through the field, though. Your hard charger right now is Sean O'Brien, ladies and gentlemen, in that beautiful Porsche. He's trying to find his way up into P12 overall, with Michael Pacheco, your TCR winner from earlier on this evening, standing in his way.
Yeah, up 8 positions for Sean O'Brien. The same is true for Drew Martin and Sean Phillips. 3 drivers that have really benefited from the issues that other drivers have had in the first quarter of this race. We have under 30 minutes to go, and Sean O'Brien will continue chasing down Pacheco, who has returned in his McLaren. Michael Clark, of course, returning in the Lamborghini, and Drew Martin just up ahead of him there in the Porsche. This is going to turn into quite the nice fight for 14th place.
It definitely is indeed. It looks like a little bit of a wobble
Look at the
there
run
from Drew Martin, and it looks like Michael Clark, he is without a doubt a great demonstration of racecraft, ladies and gentlemen. We've often seen him, I don't think he did it intentionally, but he forgot to qualify or was short on time to qualify, and just usually goes for that hard charger award. Well, that's not going to be the case today, but ladies and gentlemen, he has indeed just got 1 position here on the numbers 003 car of Drew Martin.
Yeah, so then up to 14th place then for Michael Clark, and looks like Wilton Palermo is going to join them. So it's going to be Porsche versus Porsche behind the Lambo. Still not seeing any real fighting in the top 3. It really is from 4th place all the way down to 20th where the battles are, and plenty more to come here. Still got 28.5 minutes to go. Ben Milik still running behind Quinn Manders in the Gulf liveried McLaren, and it looks like he's getting some great acceleration out of these slower corners. Sticks it up the inside for Tower, but it looks like there won't be room for him to make the move there. Can he get it done at Gendebien and Le Mans is the question.
Well, it looks like Dustin Warren there is starting to see an opportunity as well. Backed out of it, but you know, Melik's keen. He wants to get back up to where he was. He's down 7 positions on the day. He's definitely got a nice looking car, and he's definitely got pace. But don't get me wrong, Quinn Manders there, that looked like a little bit of net code. He's managed to make his way by, but is he going to be able to pull away? It's Dustin Warren now starting to line up, as that's Michael Clark off in the grass.
Oh, Michael Clark, unfortunately a solo error for him. He carried a bit too much speed through Le Mans and caught the grass off the exit curb. You're about to see it here from the aerial view. Gets on the power, bit of understeer, catches the grass, and, well, he tried to recover it, but the car swung back around on him. Of course, often our advice is to hold the brakes when you spin, but Clark evidently had the space to move through. Wilton Palermo, meanwhile, versus Drew Martin. Porsche versus Porsche coming into turn 3. And Palermo's going to get the run round the outside there. Very nicely done. And Drew Martin now up 7 positions from where he started as a result of that. Still got some great pace on board. Maybe he and Palermo can work together to find their way a bit further up the field. Don't forget, we still have a pit cycle to think about here.
Yeah, he's definitely got some pace here in that Porsche, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, applying all of the pressure to the driver ahead, the number 91 in the 911, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely don't think that was an accident in choosing that number, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, he is applying pressure further up the field, though. Michael Pacheco, he's on the defensive, but Sean O'Brien right behind, again in a Porsche, as Pacheco is going to be trying to represent McLaren in this scenario and try and stay on to that top 12.
Yes, Pacheco dealing with quite a bit of pressure here, and interesting to note that he's decided to go for the white headlights. Of course, you do have, it is actually an option in the setup, I believe, to change the color of the headlights. Depending on the series that these cars run in, it's either white or yellow. It's one of those GTD Pro versus GTD Pro-Am things in IMSA. The Pro cars running white headlights and other classes running yellow. It's always interesting to see at nighttime. Gives a bit of an extra opportunity to tell the classes apart, but it's not really relevant in a series like this where everyone's basically in the same class. For the moment, it does provide us a little bit of extra distinction between Pacheco and O'Brien. And comparing lap times, it appears they are quite close. Pacheco actually has the faster ultimate lap, about 0.2 quicker than O'Brien, but O'Brien a bit closer to Pacheco that time around, and looks like O'Brien's certainly still one of the hard chargers in this field.
Well, indeed, he's certainly he's given it a good run for his money. Sean Phillips has been able to match the positions gained, ladies and gentlemen, albeit doing it in a Corvette, so fair play to him. Not got too many of the Corvettes out there, but right now, Dustin Warren, he's been looking pretty racy, and he's going to try and find his way past that Corvette in the number 44 as he's going there to make a move down towards the hairpin.
Oh, very deep, but manages to make the apex, does Dustin Warren, and Sean Phillips will have to yield to that one. Phillips, of course, grabbing a podium in the GT4 race earlier, and so he has some nice track time under his belt, but it's not only a change of class, it's a change of car layout as well. The Ford Mustang is front-engine rear-wheel drive. Meanwhile, this Corvette has the engine behind the driver. So it's a little bit of a change in handling aspects there that Phillips has to deal with, switching from car to car. Pacheco, meanwhile, from front-wheel drive TCR to mid-engine rear-wheel drive McLaren, still has Sean O'Brien right on the back of him, and O'Brien is certainly keen to get this move done. Things are starting to space out in the top 10. And the battles are really happening further on back, starting here for 12th. That's very deep there for Pacheco. Can he pull it up in time for the apex? He certainly can. But O'Brien, with a straighter run out of the corner, can he stay in touch?
He's definitely applying a good amount of pressure there. Don't get me wrong, Sunset, the corner that's famous to have so many different lines, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, there is many different ways you go around. It looks like Sean Phillips and Dustin Warren are going side by side as they make their way down towards turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like Warren was wide out of Sunset, and Phillips was able to get alongside him, but not much to be done at turn 1. The inside line wins almost every time. What this has done is it's brought the other two cars in this fight into contention. Quinn Manders and Andrew Garov now shadowing these two in their McLaren and BMW respectively.
Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. We'd love to see a pack start to form together, ladies and gentlemen, which is the exact opposite of what we got at the front of the pack. Joshua Wilford has indeed expanded that gap up to about 3.5 seconds. Bryce Crone at 4.4 seconds over Mike Rhodes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much slam dunk right now, at least as far as it's going. But right now, indeed, Ben Malik is yet again getting into a battle here. This time with Drew Martin, as it looks like Drew Martin go with the fake, ladies and gentlemen. He is absolutely trying to get in ahead of the car ahead.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like Ben actually made the move on Martin earlier this lap, so we'll be seeing this fight continue for a few more moments at least. Tiny bit of oversteer, I think, on exit for the Porsche. As I noticed Matt Jones has picked up a mechanical black flag again. I went back to check the number 77, and unfortunately, a big problem at Sunset Bend for Matt Jones. I don't think we'll be seeing any more of him in this race. A shame, but Hopefully he has better luck at future rounds. This is how it happened for him. Chasing down Michael Clark, and a bit too deep into Sunset, ends up getting pummeled by the wall there. That's one of the biggest impacts I've ever seen at Sunset Bend, and that means Matt Jones is out of the race.
Yeah, it's fair to say the back end of that car has definitely took a little bit of a beating here. It's Michael Pacheco now. He's been getting into it with Sean O'Brien. It looks like O'Brien has finally managed to make his way past that McLaren. As I say that, it looks like Pacheco is going to be fighting back. He is not done with this position yet. It goes to put a nose up on the inside. Not quite close enough, but I have a feeling we're going to see more of these guys as he makes his way down towards the hairpin.
Yes, indeed. Let's see what Michael Pacheco has here. Looks like Sean O'Brien getting a bit of a better exit out of turn 5, so I don't think we're going to see much from Pacheco at this point on the lap, but he certainly looks like he's been getting some good pace on. Remember, he is still technically the faster of the two here, but the pit cycle might work things out there. Speaking of the pit cycle, I think we can say it's officially started because Kenneth Narvaez came out of pit lane just a few moments ago. His scheduled pit stop has been completed, 15.2 seconds in the box. That is the time by which we will measure all other runs through pit lane.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is one way of getting yourself on the broadcast. Yes, indeed, you see the front brakes really working hard on these GT3 cars. But we're going to take a look here at the 420 car, ladies and gentlemen, as Alex Zart looking to apply a bit of pressure in that Lamborghini.
Yep, these two, Manuel Sandoval and Alex Zart, have been the only two drivers in the top 10 to really stay in touch with each other. And the fight will continue on here for Alex, as he might be thinking about making a stop pretty soon. If you're having trouble making your way past or catching up to the driver ahead, maybe you can undercut them in pit lane. That is an option, but sometimes the overcut works even better. I think that in these really cold conditions, frankly, remember track temperature only about 21 Celsius still, I think the overcut might be a bit better, but Alex Zart might not have to worry about that because Sandoval just running through the gravel there. His run through Big Bend has been ruined, and he has to go defensive into the hairpin. Zart on the racing line, and Sandoval just let him have it.
Yeah, I think he realised at that point it had gone horribly wrong for him. It was better to just try and, let him go and potentially save some fuel right behind him there. Fair play. I have a feeling we're going to see some more action out of that in just a few minutes, but it looks like that's happened with Sean Phillips as well.
Pit lane, it's a scheduled stop. Same for Joshua Travis and Quinn Manders. But maybe something else happened to Sean Phillips here. Deep into Sunset Bend. Oh, yes. No, that's not scheduled at all. But amazingly, he keeps it out of the tyre barrier. Very nice save from Sean Phillips.
Yeah, that definitely could have gone very, very differently, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, he was a lucky boy on that occasion. But right now, if you go and take a look here, Sean O'Brien, it's got a little bit of an entourage with him in the form of Michael Pacheco and indeed Wilton Palermo, as indeed he has not been able to quite break the draft here. As Palermo versus Pacheco, it's going to be Porsche versus Mercedes.
Porsche versus McLaren, I think you mean.
Yes, that one.
There is a Mercedes back there of Ben Milik, but he's not quite a part of this battle yet, at least. We'll see how it works out after the pit cycle. Looks like the drivers further down the field have been going for their stops first. And oh dear, speaking of drivers who have pitted, Pierce Fox makes his way into the lane, first driver from the top 10 to do so. But Kenneth Narvaez, first driver to take a pit stop, has just had a spin.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
And it looks like a solo error at Tower Turn. A little bit wide of the apex, caught the gravel beyond the curb and sent into a slide. Ever so slight damage to the front end as a result of that. But he ends up getting away cleanly. Shame, though. Any advantage he would have had from pitting early, whatever it might have been, has now been erased.
Well, definitely a little bit unfortunate there. But one thing I feel we should probably do at one point, ladies and gentlemen, let's check in and see the facial expressions of race control.
Yes, CJ Conklin did not take to the start. and it would appear he is a bit stone-faced at the moment. Is he swiping on Tinder or something? I'm not entirely sure what he's doing there.
He's married, ain't that? He's a talented musician, though. We're going to leave him in peace. On the off chance he has fallen asleep and had a nap, we will forgive him. But certainly, CJ there, rocking the race control.
Yes, and it would appear that he hasn't had to do much work under pressure thus far. Most of the incidents we've seen have been solo errors from drivers. There was that one incident earlier between Jones and Mielik, but I think that might have been pretty conclusive in the end. Falling back to Alex Zart, who now sees himself up 3 positions thanks to drivers in the middle of the top 10 pitting. Pierce Fox has come out of the pits in 14th place with 15 seconds to his name in the lane. Our leaders have come in with 9 laps remaining here on the front of the field. Looks like Mike Rose is going to stay out an extra lap and claim the lead of the race for the moment. And this train further back here, Pacheco, Palermo, and Milik, I've got to wonder if they're going to follow everyone into pit lane 2. Maxwell Budd, 3rd driver on this lap to come in, and I see Emrit Vestrala doing the very same thing. Back in his Mercedes, which we've seen him in past seasons of this championship. And looks like no one else in that area of the field has decided to come in for this lap, apart from Ben Milik, and makes sense that he would come into the pits now, try and gain some advantage over the drivers he's trying to catch up to. Still a bit far down in terms of position.
Well, this is going to be interesting for our I guess, outright race leaders. I guess they're not outright race leaders. Bryce Crone has ended up getting caught up in traffic right between the battle of Pacheco versus Palermo. This could be pretty detrimental for those 2 guys, or it could be some good news here for Wilton Palermo. Potentially, he can try and follow Bryce Crone away and past the McLaren of Michael Pacheco.
All right, here comes the fight once again, and Wilton Palermo will see maybe half an opportunity here. Don't forget, this being a 40-minute race, GT3s have tyres that last an hour or more, so we won't be seeing drivers intentionally changing tyres at the pit stops. It looks like Michael Clark has picked up a black flag on pit exit. I think he might have gotten off the limiter a bit too early. Either that or it was an unsafe exit from pit lane for our resident number 36 Lamborghini. And we'll have to see what the speed was here at pit exit. I don't know if we're going to be seeing much of an indication of that, but no, he got out of pit lane all right. I'm not sure what that black flag was for.
I think it's because he just cut the line right there. That would be my best guess. Definitely do not mess with the stewards when it comes to pit exit.
No, certainly not. And it's not human stewards who define that. That is the automated iRacing system that gives you penalties for exiting pits in the wrong place. Well, here come the rest of our top 10. Mike Rose, Manuel Sandoval, Alex Zart, Harvey Stera, and Kerry Corcoran in pit lane, and Joshua Wilford will reclaim the lead of the race. Despite having a longer pit stop and a longer run through pit lane than Mike Rose, it looks like Bryce Crone has managed to actually get ahead of Mike Rose there through the pit cycle, and now sits 3rd. Sean O'Brien up into 2nd, but he still has to come into the lane.
Yeah, well, definitely, don't get me wrong, I've always thought the logic was to try and get the car as light as possible, and that will make you faster, but honestly, the undercut always seems to be beneficial for some reason that I do not understand why. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody smarter than me could potentially answer that. Maybe it's tire temperature, indeed, but right now, this could be pretty detrimental there to Bryce Crone, as he could potentially back him up a little bit, but let's give credit where due. Right now, we know he's the only driver in the field who's yet to make a pit stop, but Sean O'Brien up 19 positions on the day.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. Should be coming into the pits at the end of this lap, surely. I'm not sure how long a tank will last on this fixed setup, but surely not any longer than about 10 minutes to go. Michael Clark comes back into pit lane to clear that black flag, and we'll see now Sean O'Brien, the last car not to make their way into pit lane. A
Oh,
little bit far
two
beyond the
wheels.
curbs there, and two-wheeling it. And this is going to arrest the momentum of Bryce Crone somewhat. Right on the back of him there. That's the closest view I've gotten of a Mercedes front headlight.
Oh, absolutely.
Down the straight they come, and well, it looks like there's not going to be much of a fight there from Sean O'Brien, because he's looking to gear up to run into pit lane, sticking tight to the right out of Sunset Bend and into pit lane. You know what I think Michael Clark might have done? He might have actually collected a couple of those cones on the way into pit lane. That can gain you an unsafe entry. But then he would have had to serve the black flag at the pit stop, surely. There's a bit of confusion over exactly why Michael Clark got that black flag. But in any case, Sean O'Brien coming through the pits, and he will be battling with Kerry Corcoran, I believe, as he makes his way out of pit lane. No, Corcoran leaves him behind. Looks like looks like O'Brien is going to come out on his own.
Well, he definitely had a little bit of an opportunity there. He's got a little bit of air around him, but right now, let's check back in with these two drivers, as indeed they've been fighting for the entire race, ladies and gentlemen. It is Pierce Fox and Manuel Sandoval, but Alex Zart now applying pressure to try and take over P5.
Yes, Manuel Sandoval with the quickest run of anyone through pit lane. 36.5 seconds from entry to exit, and only 13 seconds stopped in the box. Got to wonder if Sandoval has had an ace up his sleeve this whole time, or if he's underfueled it. That is the big question. Alex Zart, for the moment, does seem to be the quicker of the two, and he'll be piling that pressure on in the Lamborghini for these last couple of positions in the top six as we are about to hit 10 minutes to go. Well, I think we can officially call it dusk going into nighttime now. There's still some light in the sky, but none of it is hitting the racetrack.
Indeed, and certainly I honestly love the lighting here on these GT3 cars. It's so beautifully ambient, ladies and gentlemen, and what a fantastic track to see the sun go down on. Indeed, Sebring, what a venue, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually that far from myself. Certainly, Reese, I can't imagine it's too often you get tracks in that kind of neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly that is the one of the, I guess, downsides of being on the other side of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Reese Gardner, actually probably about 11 o'clock in the morning where he's at, and about 11 o'clock at night where I am.
Yes, you absolutely nailed it. Just coming up to 11 a.m. here in Perth, Western Australia. My closest track is Wanneroo Raceway, and even then I have to drive about an hour to get there. Sean Phillips, meanwhile, bit of a replay here into turn one, and oh my god, the car just let go on him on the way into turn one, and the front end makes contact with the tyre bundles. So Sean Phillips with some damage from that. Not very nice to see, but I think especially as the temperature goes down, you see a little bit more of these oversteer moments. That's very deep from Alex Zart. You can see him cranking the wheel around to try and get it to the other side of the corner, and by some miracle, he manages to stay ahead of Manuel Sandoval.
Yeah, I have a feeling that one was a little bit more by good luck than good management, but fair play to the guy. He made it pay off. But I have a feeling, though, that Manuel is indeed going to want that position back there. The Porsche will definitely be later here on the brakes, but is it going to be enough? Time is running out. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got 8.5 minutes if he wants to try and find his way back up to P5.
Yes, Zart. Sandoval started 6th. Car with the most positions gained in the top 10 is Amrit Vestrala. He started outside the top 10, is up 5 places to 9th at the moment. But the hard charger of all of them still appears to be Sean O'Brien, the driver who spent the longest time before coming into pit lane, up 10 places.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic drive there by O'Brien. He is indeed applying the pressure. But one of the questions I do have to wonder as well, there was qualifying sessions before this series went live, and there wasn't quite enough to really sort out the field. But the question I have is, how are they going to do it for the rest of the season onward, ladies and gentlemen? Indeed, they've got a 26-car grid, well, 25-car grid on tonight's occasion. Even more signed up, and even more could sign up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be part of this series, you definitely need to let us know. We would love to see you here on the big screen, but certainly it's going to be interesting to see how on earth you would go and decide how how to split these guys up.
Yeah, that is the big question. I think there's just some really good competition all the way through the field here. Michael Clark, meanwhile, he's had a bit of a tough one here today, and it would appear some problems for him at the hairpin. Not entirely sure what the deal was there, but he has lost a little bit more time on this particular lap. The battle between Sandoval and Zart is continuing on. And they only have about 6 3/4 minutes remaining to sort this battle out. Zart now finally past the Porsche and setting some good times. Sandoval about half a second slower than Zart on the previous lap. And P.S. Fox has managed to maintain some good pace in his BMW ahead. He's still faster than both Zart and Sandoval.
Yeah, he's definitely having a fantastic drive, and don't get me wrong, that BMW is a beautiful livery as well. Certainly, I've got a feeling we're going to potentially see a bit more of Pierce Fox in the not-so-distant future, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, he is chasing that podium. Don't get me wrong, on outright pace, he's not quite been there, but on the last lap, incredibly close, just 0.09 of a second between himself and Mike Rose.
Yeah, it's very close pace on lap time, but they are 3 seconds apart as things stand. If there is a mistake for Mike Rose, then we'll likely see Pierce Fox get onto the back of him. But for the moment, Wilford, Crone, and Rose look pretty safe in the top 3 here coming into the final 5 minutes of this competition. Still battles going on throughout the midfield as well. Wilton Palermo and Michael Pacheco are still fighting, and Michael Belair and Andrew Garov here still fighting over 17th place. It looks like the move was very recently made, and it looks like Garov hit the curb, and that arrested his momentum. Belair, despite catching the grass, somehow manages to hold on to that one, and keeps himself in 17th place for now. Still 7 spots down from where he started. Remember, Belair rounded out the top 10.
Well, certainly some interesting stuff indeed, but right now, Sean O'Brien still the hard charger in the field, ladies and gentlemen. He's up to P11. I don't think he's going to be able to make it up to Kerry Corcoran. He's about 8.5 seconds behind, but right now, your race leader, Joshua Wilford, is absolutely pulling away, ladies and gentlemen. 8 seconds clear of the next nearest competition of Bryce Crone.
Yeah, lap times for Wilford have been consistently quicker than everyone else here. A 158.6 for Wilford on the previous lap, and that is just about qualifying pace that we're seeing from him there. Bryce Crone only able to set low 159s at this stage. I think he's settled in to second place for now. Still looking faster than Mike Rose. Wilford, though, getting his title defense off to the best start possible thus far. My timing is telling me 2 laps to go when he crosses the line. So Wilford not under much pressure here at the front. Gotta wonder if this is a pattern for the season to come. Of course, we can't gather too much from just one round of racing. It's entirely possible that Wilford could fall under greater pressure at future rounds, but we'll have to wait and see if that is indeed the case. Back to Sandoval and Zart for P5.
Yeah, certainly it may just be that Sebring is indeed one of his Princess-approved tracks, ladies and gentlemen, as it is one of mine. Certainly Road of Atlanta being at the very top of that list. But right now, Manuel Sandoval is definitely still keeping that Lamborghini honest of Alex Saar. He's putting in a good run for it, and is he going to be able to make a move there as he thinks about making it on the inside? Holds off. Potentially the hairpin could be the best opportunity there. He's just got to make sure he carries as much speed as he can, gets a fantastic exit, and indeed really applies the anchors in that Porsche as they make their way down towards the hairpin.
All right. Try to pick your braking point for the hairpin. A lapped car giving way to some drivers there. Looks like that's Sean Phillips, who's still rolling, fortunately, but all the way down in 22nd place and way off pace. He's just hoping to get to the checkered flag at this point. Now leaders get by him very nicely. Seems like on this lap Sandoval has lost a bit more time to Alex Zart, but the Porsche does seem to be strong in these slower, twistier parts of the circuit. You'll see him make up some time on the Lamborghini, but then when they get to the straights, the advantage of every other car comes to the fore. The Porsche, especially in recent years, has seen a bit of a straight line speed disadvantage versus the other cars in class.
Yeah, certainly, but don't get me wrong, under the brakes it is an absolute machine, ladies and gentlemen. But let's have a look a bit further. Oh my gosh, Mr. Arkwright was in the booth for just a second there. And if you understood that reference, by all means, let us know in the chat, because I have a feeling I would be the only one, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Pit Road Productions open all hours making a cameo. But right now, Sean O'Brien is going to find himself under pressure very soon here from Wilton Palermo and indeed Michael Pacheco. Those two drivers have been going at it the entire race for the most part. Palermo happened to be the tail in that pack, but don't get me wrong, Pacheco, he's fresh off a TCR win. Can he try and find his way up past Palermo and indeed up towards the top 11?
That is the question. Just got one lap to go here at Sebring. Joshua Wilford has already taken the white flag, and now this is where the pressure comes. Wilton Palermo catching up to Sean O'Brien down the Ullman Straight, but not enough to get by into Sunset Bend, at least at the entry. That's O'Brien running wide, and he tries to cut back on exit. This battle's going to continue here. White flag in the air for these two. How's it going to work out at turn one? Palermo gives a little bit of room to the outside there. It's a narrow line on the way into turn one. O'Brien carrying all the speed he can to the apex, and he's going to get up the inside into turn three. They almost make contact.
That did.
And they... Oh, yeah, that's a tap. Oh, car off there. Beside them, I think that is a lapped car. Oh, no! Contact again, and O'Brien's been sent around at turn 5, and he will lose touch with the both of them. Pacheco being gifted 12th place out of that.
Yeah, that's definitely not the way he wanted that to go down. But ladies and gentlemen, let's return to your race leader as he indeed making his way towards the first win here in the Podium 1 Fixed Series Championship, ladies and gentlemen. And certainly the GT3 class has been incredibly tight competition through the mid-pack, but at the front of the pack, 8 seconds clear, this man has been a force to be reckoned with.
He certainly has had incredible pace for the last few seasons running, reigning champion, and he's going to come away with the perfect title defense, fastest lap, pole position, and the win. Incredible stuff from Joshua Wilford, the South African on top once again, with Bryce Crone coming away with the second place finish. Behind him, Mike Rose will take P3 ahead of Pierce Fox, who holds on for 4th.
Yeah, Alex out there putting in a really good run. Certainly Manuel Sandoval definitely gave him a good run for his money. Javi Sierra not quite able to get into that battle as well. Maxwell Bird definitely had success in the TCRs, but still managed to finish within the top 8, ladies and gentlemen, here in the GT3s. Amrit Pastrana, though, surprisingly far back. I did expect to see a little bit more from him there, with Kerry Corcoran very much in pursuit, about 1.6 seconds behind. But let's go back here to Ben Mellick and indeed Dustin Warren, as these two guys are going side by side as they make their way down towards Sunset.
Yes, indeed. Can Ben Mellick recover to finish 2 positions down from where he started, or will he get a tap from the rear? Manages to get into the tyre barrier. Oh dear, and he won't be able to hold on to another position. Kenneth Narvaez taking advantage and moving by. That's a terrible end to the race for Benjamin Mellick. Wilton Palermo, it's worth pointing out, received a drive-through on the final lap for causing too many collisions. But unfortunately, it would appear that Dustin Warren was the one who made the contact with Mellick there, coming into the final turn. Quinn Manders as well finding his way cleanly through the final corner for the most part, just taking it easy on the exit, just bring it home in the end. And that's going to be the majority of the field across the line. Joshua Travis still has yet to find his way to the line. Same for Sean Phillips. But Joshua Wilford on his cool-down lap here. I mean, what more can you say about him that we haven't already said? We barely gave him any airtime at all. He just jetted away at the front. 8 seconds is the victory margin.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic race there by Wilford. Certainly it's good to see him make a return here. It's got to say, look at these guys fold in. I'm impressed. We've already got 2 drivers here. They're going, yeah, I'm ready for an interview. We've not even got the results up. I got to say, fellas, I'm impressed.
Yes, we've we've had some issues recently with getting drivers to show up in time for their interviews, so it's nice to see a bit of a change there. Well, looks like with Sean Phillips about to come across the line, we will have our results to come to you in just a few moments. Phillips is actually going incredibly slowly towards the line. I think he's had another crash. It's been a rough run for the man who finished third in the GT4 race earlier, but he has found his way to the line now, and we can go to the results. You're on replay, Zippy, by the way.
There you go.
There we go. Those are the results then. Josh Wilford, 8.1 seconds back to Bryce Crone, with Mike Rose making his way to the podium. Pierce Fox in fourth. Our top four unaltered from qualifying. Alex Zart up 2 places, finishes ahead of Manuel Sandoval to round out the top 6. Javi Sierra, Maxwell Budd, Amrit Vestrala, and Kerry Corcoran rounding out your top 10. Nice run up the field there from Kerry.
As we overlook there, P11 was Michael Pacheco, with Sean O'Brien taking 12. Dustin Warren took 13th, with Ken Nevarez in 14th. Ben Malik, definitely an interesting race for him. He was there in 15th, with Michael Belair in 16th. Andrew Garov, he was there in 17th, with Drew Martin in 18th. Quinn Manders in 19th. Wilton Palermo, definitely some good battles there, but he finishes in 20th.
Yes, Joshua Travis in 21st place. Michael Clark with a torrid run here, down 5 positions, finishes 22nd. Hopefully he has a better run at future rounds. Sean Phillips crawling to the line in 23rd place ahead of Zeke Sauter, and Matt Jones, our sole retirement from the race. Unfortunately, through very little fault of his own. CJ Conklin in race control did not take to the start. Now it's time for interviews, and the first driver we're going to be chatting to is Joshua Wilford. I think a pretty perfect way to start off your title defense there, Joshua. Looks like the change to the Mustang has smiled on you.
Yeah, I was thinking of going with the Mercedes, but then decided against it because I didn't want to give my previous competitor, who I thought would show up, an edge. But yeah, it's been a difficult move moving from the Aston, because the Aston just has so much downforce on the rear, but the Mustang's quite fun to throw around in these corners.
Yeah, I think it works out pretty well at Sebring. A lot of fast corners, but you would have had to manage the bumps quite a bit as well over the course of that race, especially with the nighttime race bringing the track temperature way down.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like towards the pit stop and after the pit stop, it really wanted to kick the rear out at almost every medium to low speed corner, but it was manageable. It's quite a fun car to drive, actually.
Well, that should leave everyone else quaking in their boots, because the pace that you were carrying was just immense here. And if you were having fun while doing it, well, let's see if this season is a complete whitewash for you, Josh. But we've still got a long way to go, 9 more rounds. But regardless, a pretty perfect way to start it. Pole, win, fastest lap. You got all of it. So congratulations from all of us up here in the booth.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Joshua Wilford will celebrate his victory there. And the next driver that we can bring in here is Bryce Crone, who finished second, Zippy.
Hello, everyone.
Well, Bryce, welcome to the booth. Certainly, it's definitely a good debut round for you, bringing that Mercedes home in P2. I got to say, Wilford's definitely a bit of a weapon, but yourself, definitely not somebody to underestimate either. How did you feel about the strategy here at Sebring?
Yeah, well, there's absolutely no room for errors when you're trying to chase Josh. No fuel saving. I wanted to push as hard as I could. I know he was too. But yeah, I got a little bit unlucky coming out of the pits. I had a lot of traffic, so he extended the time by like another 4 seconds after that.
Well, definitely a challenging ordeal indeed. But next week, we're going to head over to Detroit Belle Isle. Now, Bryce, myself, I often call it the Princess-approved track list, and that is not one that made the cut. Yourself, how do you feel about that particular venue?
I've actually not driven it before, so I'm gonna have to put in the work to get the track down, and then we'll see where I'm at with the pace.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed going to wish him the best of luck. We're getting second on his debut here at the Podium 1 Big Series, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Bryce Crone in the number 5 AMG Mercedes.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Lovely stuff from Bryce Crone today. A stable race in second place, and last driver on the podium today was Mike Rose. New driver to the championship. Mike, how did you find it out there?
That was a whole lot of fun. I'm hot, I'm sweaty. How's that? Everybody out there kept me honest.
Yeah, certainly was some interesting battling early on. It didn't seem like there was much movement in the top four throughout the course of the entire race, but pit strategy certainly played a part in those gaps. Did you come in with a plan for this race, and could you execute it?
Initially, I wanted to qualify on the outside line, so an even number quali if I wasn't going to be P1, just because I'm prone to spitting on that inside line. I managed to hold it together pretty well and tuck into third. From there, it was basically flat out push, no fuel saving in mind, just run it as empty as I could and hope I came out without traffic.
Well, we heard from Bryce Crone that he's never driven Belle Isle before. I've got to wonder, have you, and what are your thoughts on that track? Similar bumpy conditions to Sebring, but the walls are a hell of a lot closer.
Yeah, it's a very, very tight circuit. I think I've driven it in the Cup car in a hosted session in the past, so not a lot of experience. I'm definitely going to have to put in some practice laps and hopefully can repeat at least what I did today. Hopefully improve.
Well, with a third place finish at the first round of the season and room for improvement, it looks like you'll certainly be a contender for the championship this season, Mike. So best of luck going forward, and congratulations on the podium. Well done.
Thank you so much.
That's going to be Mike Rose there, and P.S. Fox finishing P4. Zippy, you stood by with the No, I'm stood by with the BMW driver, apparently. Pierce started fourth, finished fourth. It doesn't look like it was a very eventful race for you, but I'm sure you had to work hard out there to keep it on track at a very brutal circuit.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing going on the whole race. I was just trying to keep the Porsche behind me at least a second back so he didn't get slipstream. And then right after pits, I started making some small mistakes. But other than that, pretty consistent, which I'm happy with. Better pace than I had going into the last round of last season. So, I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, it looks like a very nice improvement in between seasons. You know, I've noticed that you've always been one of those contenders sort of outside the podium positions, but now moving a little bit closer. Have you had a chance to really dive into the schedule for this season? And if so, are there any tracks that jump out to you as places you think you and your BMW will be strong at?
Honestly, no. I mean, after last season, I didn't touch the sim until like last week just to get a break. And then, I don't know, I guess magically I got a little bit more pace, so I'm not sure what's... There's a few tracks I've never driven, like Detroit I've never driven before. There's a couple that I have yet to even get, so hoping those go well.
Yes, I'm certainly hoping as well, Pierce, because if the pace you were carrying here at Sebring is any indication, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. Sometimes a break is just what you need to gain those extra few tenths. So let's see how you do going forward. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
That is Pierce Fox, and I believe, Zippy, you're stood by with the man himself, CJ Conklin.
Well, I've got to say, CJ, it's definitely been a busy night for you, sir. Fair play to you. I appreciate that it's so much work that goes into organising this. Certainly over the holidays, it's definitely been challenging at times, to say the least. But we are just here on round one. It looks like you ended up in the race control seat. We did catch you earlier. We weren't quite sure if you were awake for it, but by all means, tell us what it was like from the race control part of the booth.
Well, I had fun in the TCR race, and I jumped in my Corvette ready to run this race. And then got a call from the control booth and said they had an accident on the whatever highway, I-69 in Arizona, and they couldn't make the race control. So I had to jump out, put on my suit, and fire it up. And it was actually, I had a lot of fun. It's our first time doing live stewarding. Awesome program. Never touched it until tonight. It was pretty interesting.
Well, first off, let's hope that Darwin is indeed okay. We'll send him all of our good wishes. Cars can be replaced. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
he was fine. He was fine. He was just stuck in traffic. That's all it was. So.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's good. I was going to say, depending on what car, I mean, if you drove something particularly hateful, then you know what, maybe he's done the world a favor by putting off a cliff or something. The car, keep Darwin, get rid of the car. I don't know what he drives, but certainly we will indeed. I can't cook, Reese can, but I can certainly roast, ladies and gentlemen. TJ, while we get slightly off topic there, obviously we still got room for more drivers in this series. Why don't you tell us all the reasons drivers need to get involved? Certainly this broadcast is one of them, but yourself as organizer, now's your chance to just absolutely sell this league.
Okay, well, first of all, it's sponsored by Podium 1, doing turnkey simulators, which I work for. It's an awesome job, awesome place to be. Second of all, the broadcast. Who's got a better broadcast? Nobody's got a better broadcast.
Hey.
It's I can't wait to watch this back. It's pretty awesome. Third, we have live stewarding. Oh, thanks. You're welcome. Thanks. We have live stewarding. It was actually pretty fun tonight. We don't have any incidents turn on, so this is live stewarding. So learning the program, I'm on the phone with Darwin saying, what do I do? And then I saw, you could see off tracks. So what's really cool about it is we're not allowing 17 off tracks. You're going to get a few, you'll get a warning. If you keep violating them, they're going to get a drive-through. Unfortunately, we did have to give a drive-through tonight. Had someone that was pretty aggressive, watched him throughout the race. Watch the spin. Love it. Pops up, shows me there was an incident. I hit a button that goes back to that incident. Amazing. So that is another thing. Then lastly, the reason you should join the league is we got big prizes. We're giving out an active pedal as a participation prize. We're going to have some prizes from Sawbelt. I'm still working on prizes, so if you want to get in this, you can. You have to just participate in a race. That's all you got to do to get the big one. And then of course you get your trophies. So active pedal. So I may have a wheel and wheelbase coming. I'm working on that.
Damn.
Yep. We're making it big, and we just want to fill it up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to try to fill up the TCR and the GT3. I enjoyed doing the race. I watched the race. I really wanted to race, but it was fun here in race control. Loved it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, certainly the software he's using is not only that. We've seen it here on Pit Road Productions. Race Control, ladies and gentlemen, iRace Control, made by the one and only Mr. Rich Hibbs. Actually, we'll have to try and steal him. We'll try and get him in the booth for you one day, CJ, and see if we can actually... he has it set up, so when you administer a penalty, it will pop up on the broadcast for us. He can do that.
Yes, so I guess you didn't get it then.
I guess not.
I didn't know about that. So... I was gonna ask you after, but yeah, I that would be awesome. So I'm gonna ask him that. I'm having a good hour on this. I love it, and if you could do that, it'd be awesome. Because I was given warnings left and right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, definitely a man to keep an eye out for, not just on the track, but when he's in the race control booth as well. But ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed going to have to bring this show to a close. CJ, as always, it's been a pleasure, sir, and certainly we couldn't do it without the hard work from yourself, Darwin, and indeed the team at Podium 1. Certainly, actually, do you want to give a quick shout out to these guys just before we let you go?
Oh, thank you guys, and thank you for everybody. Thank you for broadcasting. Love it, and I can't wait till next week. See you in Belle Isle.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't have said it any better myself, but you know what? I know a man who can. Mr. Reese Gardner.
All right. Well, of course, we are going to Detroit for the next round. And, well, if you thought Sebring was bumpy, just wait till you see Belle Isle. I'm actually surprised that a lot of the drivers don't seem to have driven Belle Isle before. They're either in for a treat or a nightmare. We'll find out this time next week. Bringing us home here for the broadcast. Once again, a huge thanks to everyone involved with the running of this league. To all the sponsors as well, we thanked in between the races. They make this happen. They are the reason that we're here to bring this race to you here on Pit Road Productions. My name's Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box, and producing behind the scenes a great first round of the Podium 1 Fixed Series Championship, the new era, with GT4 and TCR being brought into the fold as well. Let's see what next round brings, what the next 9 rounds bring of this championship. It's going to be a hard-fought one for sure. We'll see you next time.